Okay, to start out, I'm just gonna see how she is with this flag. Because I'm gonna use the flag today as pressure. If she's thinking about getting away from me, then she's not ready yet to even start trail loading like that. Well, I appreciate that. With Sunny, how she's starting to get much more relaxed with this flag, and I don't know if you... Okay, let's see if we can get her in. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Reata Horsemanship. I'm Luke Brown, and I'm at another house call with Luke. And this is Taryn, our friend Taryn, and her horse back here is Sunny. Sunny's a 6 years old, right? Yeah. 6-year-old Gypsy Vanner horse that came that I'm helping trailer load. She's got some trailer loading issues. I think there's some issues that are a little bit deeper than trailer loading, but for today's house call, I'm going to be working with her and seeing where the holes are, and then helping her get in the trailer. And you say, is it nearly impossible to get her on the trailer? You haven't been able to get her on at all?
I have. I've been able to get her on 3 times.
Yeah.
And then after that, I haven't been able to get her
Then
on.
she refused to get on after that?
Yeah.
When she did get on, what happened when she got on?
She just got right in.
Got in, and then did she stay in there, or did she try to get out?
She just stayed right in
Huh.
there.
Huh.
She was good. I was shocked when she started having issues.
Okay. So it's just kind of out of the blue she started having issues?
Yeah, but I've only tried to trailer load her a handful of times, so I don't know what her previous history was like.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay. And then you also mentioned that she has an issue pulling away from you?
Occasionally, yeah.
So you have tried to load her a few times where she literally just decided not to and just pulled away and ran off? Mm-hmm. Okay. Ran back here? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So we're going to get started with her, and I look forward to this session today. I hope you enjoy it. Okay. The first thing that I'm thinking of is I'm going to use, do you always use that halter when you're trailer loading?
Yeah.
Okay. So
sometimes I put a rope halter on,
okay.
but not super.
Typically, especially a horse that's going to pull away from me, I almost always use a rope halter just because you get more pressure per force, right? So I'm going to be able to control her head a little bit better. At first, that's really important. Eventually, it doesn't really matter if she's just going to be in control, and I don't have to force her head to be in control, but initially I have to kind of force that a little bit. So I'm going to switch out to my rope halter. And it's got my favorite color, pink, on it as the lead rope. Okay, I'll bring her over here. She smells nice.
She just got groomed like 2 days ago.
Yeah. Okay, Miss Sunny.
Sunny does smell nice. I never smell her.
I always know when they've had a shampoo bath. Okay, to start out, I'm just going to see how she is with this flag. Because I'm going to use the flag today as pressure to help her get in the trailer. So if she's bothered by that, I'm going to work on that first. So a big part of training is helping build a horse's emotional resilience. And a lot of people don't pay attention to that, but that's actually, you want them to trust you, and you also want to build emotional resilience. And it's just like people. If we don't go through hard things, then we're not emotionally resilient. And when something hard happens, something difficult happens, we break down and fall apart, right? But the more we can go through challenging things, the stronger we get, the more emotionally resilient we get. So that's part of desensitizing. It's also part of sensitizing, getting a horse to move out under pressure. So there she's thinking about going. But because I have this rope halter, now I'm not guaranteeing she's not going to get away from me, but I'm hoping she doesn't. So first things first, we're going to get her used to this flag. I'm going to get her used to the flag, and I'm also going to get her moving her feet like I want. Forwards, backwards, left and right. If I can get her moving the feet like I want, then it's a lot easier to trailer load. If she's thinking about getting away from me, then she's not ready yet to even start trailer loading like that. If you're gonna work with a horse, you got to think about it as putting a foundation on them. Like if people will say, hey, I just want you to ride my horse on the trail. Well, I never do that to start out with, even though that's what clients might want, because the horse always has a number of cracks in their foundation that need to be fixed before I take them out on the trail. And then they become safe trail horses. Most of the problems out on the trail go away after I fix those cracks on the ground and in the arena.
You know, like we have for some horses that come to you like completely untouched. If you do it right, yeah, you can do it as a horse. But for some things, you just eliminate.
Yeah.
We have our separate ways.
Yep, absolutely.
I can do things, and you can do things stronger than I can do things.
And in general, my experience is that most women have a better feel with the horses than men. You see, there's a lot of famous horse trainers who are men out there, honestly unique compared to most men. Most men are too aggressive, too abrupt, too loud, too gruff, all of that, and they don't pay attention to the horse. And women are so much better at paying attention to the horse and what the horse is feeling and thinking. And we're just like, oh, just force them to get in that trailer, And so there's a happy medium between, just make them get in versus help them understand what you're asking them to do and help them not be afraid of it.
And I know that about you, that's how you are, and that's part of why I wanted to.
Well, I appreciate that. So she tried to get away there. And with this hay, I almost slipped down. So she got to that breaking point where she's like, nope, I'm out of here. So I'm gonna change directions a little bit more frequently here. So I'm doing two things, getting her to where she responds really well to me without trying to pull away like that, and then also getting her used to this flag. But yeah, whenever you work with her on the ground, I would use a rope halter. So you don't want, because that nylon halter, can create so much more force and pull away from you so much more easily with the nylon halter. She probably would have gotten away from me if I had a nylon halter on. Probably. You'll find there's such a dramatic difference between a flat nylon halter that's like an inch wide versus these rope halters.
And then you create this really natural system of collection in your collection in your hindquarters, and you have control of your shoulders and the ribs, and then your head moves, you're going to lift them. Whereas a lot of times when it comes into like forcing them, it's create this pull when their head comes back instead of leading them there, pull when their head comes back. And then when you get this movement, that's when you start to lose the connection with your face. Because they're hiding from it, and that's what creates the unnatural movement, because you're creating that shape instead of them having
That makes sense. Yeah, that would be fun to learn more about that.
Yeah, and it's so lost too nowadays. Like really, the discipline that really focuses on that and doing that correctly. You see it most of the English roll down with your dogs. I mean, those the dogs, they have that down. And a lot of it has been lost in the Western industry.
Huh.
You know, you see it all over the place. People are pulling their horses, and then they learn to hide from the bit. And that's when you start to develop issues with horses, like on a lower scale of performance.
Uh-huh.
People that haven't necessarily had the opportunity to learn the correct way. They see the pulling, they start to, and then once the horse learns to hide from the bit, you see issues with like horses grabbing the bit and running off. Because it's so easy for them to when they've lost that sense of connection to it.
Interesting. Okay, so you can see here with Sunny how she's starting to get much more relaxed with this flag, and I don't know if you noticed, but I'm closer to her now, and now I'm waving that flag up above her and across her. So I have 5 different waves I do. Generally speaking, with the flag, I'll go right to left over the back, front to back, over the top, then up and down behind her, up and down at the shoulder neck junction, and then I go front to back along the ground. So that's desensitizing with the flag with movement. And this is a lead beside exercise. I call it lead beside exercise with flag desensitizing. Getting her to disengage the hindquarters, move the front feet over, those forequarters, disengage the hindquarters, move the front quarters over. So she's getting pretty good with this and getting pretty relaxed to the flag. She's not trying to get away from me anymore. So she's nice and relaxed. I didn't force anything, but I definitely wanted her to get to this relaxed place before I start working on actually around the trailer. So now I'm going to work on what I call a pass-through exercise at the trailer. So I want to make sure she's not nervous about the trailer. And I'm going to send her between me and the trailer. And I really, with her personality, I don't think that she's nervous about the trailer. I feel like, because there's a lot of horses, they don't even get close to this trailer.
I tire her to saddle.
Yeah, you tire her to saddle. So she's not afraid of the trailer. We'll see about the inside. But before I go inside the trailer or ask her to go inside the trailer, I want to make sure that she can walk between me and the trailer without being scared of it.
That's so smart. I never thought of doing an exercise like that.
Because if she's scared of going by the trailer, she's going to be much more afraid to go in the trailer. Because going in the trailer is going by the sides, but also going into a cave, right? Ooh. Yeah. Yep, if you're afraid to be out here, you're never going to be comfortable going in. The other thing that I do, so I do pass-through exercise on both sides of the trailer and the back. And then I also, during the pass-through exercise, I let them rest between me and the trailer. And I want to make sure that she can stop and rest between me and the trailer. So it's one thing to walk through and be comfortable, walk and trot through. It's another level of relaxation for her to stop and just allow me to stand outside of her and her be between me and the trailer. Typically going both directions. So she's going to the right. She stopped nicely there. Going to the left. Ooh. She didn't stop there, so I'm just going to keep going. And my cue for her to stop is I just drop the hand, reach up and rub her with the flag for this exercise. So drop that hand. Whoa. Yeah, she might surprise us and get right in.
You have her so relaxed, and like just doing these exercises is so smart.
Okay, I'm going to take her to the other side of the trailer. So we'll do it on this side. The same pass-through exercise. Oh, yeah. Ooh. I bet there is, yeah. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Ooh. So I'm just going to keep asking her to stop by ceasing to ask her to go. Ooh. And I'll say whoa usually. Get her used to the word whoa to stop. Now, one thing I'm noticing here and that we haven't worked on yet is backing up. She's not real great at backing up. And in order to trailer load, your horse has to be real good at backing up, backing with you and backing away from you. So we'll work on that before we start getting in the trailer. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, absolutely. Oh. So what do you notice about her pass through this on this side? That's different. She doesn't want to stop as easily, right? Yeah. So it may be that she's on the other side of the horses where she can't see the horses, so she's less comfortable just stopping and standing there. That might be the reason, or it might be the shadow. Oh, the shade, who knows? We got her stopped there, but so I'll take her up on that and let her rest for a little bit, even though her butt's already past me. But if at least she stopped there. Oh, there she goes. She's licking and chewing.
So nice when they process it, you know.
I love when they relax and lick and chew. And really the licking and chewing is going from, it's a transition from a state of being sensitive to being relaxed. So there's a certain amount of discomfort that she's feeling, and then when she stops and then relaxes and licks and chews, that means she came out of that discomfort. So there's a good stop, going to the left. Whoa. And that's good enough going to the right. Okay, so I feel like she's listening to me. She's not afraid of the flag. She did the pass-through nicely on all sides of the trailer besides the front. Now I'm going to work on backing her up. I'm actually going to not use the flag right now. So I'm going to back her out of my space first of all, so just wiggle a little bit. Wave. And there she took a step. Wiggle a little bit. Wave. Bump down. And she took a step. Couple steps. Wiggle. So I'm going to start really lightly, build my pressure into a wave. If that's not enough, then I'm going to jerk down and release. If we have enough time, I'll work on backing her out of the trailer like this. But we'll just see where she gets to here. So she's used to backing out, not turning around, which is good. Now I have horses, you know, I wouldn't, as a general rule, horses should be very comfortable backing out of a trailer. But it's not a hard and fast rule that I use all the time, because sometimes I'm in a stock trailer where I've got 10 horses in a stock trailer and they're all turned every which way, and usually those turn around and come out forward. But they should know how to back up, because the problem people run into is they only get the horse out of the trailer turning around, and then when they get in a trailer where it's like a straight load, yeah, where they have to back out, then they get the hardest trail loading sessions I've ever done were a few horses out there that were deathly afraid of backing up and backing out of the trailer. It's much harder to get a horse to back off a trailer than to get a horse to go on a trailer if they have an issue with it.
Actually, I do know what you're talking about. I had this 4-year-old this time last year, and I could not get. I think I got him to back out maybe once.
Uh-huh.
It was just so difficult, and he would back up great, like on the ground outside and stuff. Then you get him in the trailer. Yeah, I forgot about that. That horse, he was scrambled eggs.
Yeah. So if you have a horse that you know is going to be challenging to back off the trailer, I'll show you a couple of techniques I use getting in the trailer. But I also, it's good to like, even to back her, take her onto a cement pad and then back her off of the cement pad, or back her down a little hill or off a little knoll, back her onto some gravel or off of some gravel or onto pavement or off of pavement. Anytime you can change the footing where she has to back onto different footing, especially if it's footing that goes down, that's going to help her be much more comfortable backing off a trailer. Because, you know, we get some trailers are pretty high. This one's kind of average. And some horses, you know, they think they're going to lose their life if they step off of that. So it's always a fear issue. It's never a disrespect issue. Well, rarely is it a disrespect issue when they don't want to back off a trailer. Usually they're just afraid of it.
When you're like shaking the lead rope and stuff, do you ever worry about like how that could cross over? Like if you're just trying to lead them, and then like if the lead rope shakes, if they're gonna stop.
So the question is, am I afraid of, if I'm shaking the lead rope to back them up, am I afraid that she might start to back up if I'm leading her forward and the lead rope accidentally shakes? The answer is no, I'm not afraid of that, because I'm teaching her more. It's more about learning to listen to my body language versus listening to the wiggle of the rope. Because eventually I can just wiggle my finger and get her to back up. I can't do that right now. She's not at that level yet. But if I want her to come in, I'm doing this. Or if I want her to lead somewhere, I'm doing this. And then if I want her to back out of my space, then I'm facing her and I'm putting pressure on her this way.
Yeah.
So I'm going a little more intense on my pressure. I'm going from lighter pressure to heavier pressure more quickly. And that's what I call the refinement stage of the sensitizing, any sensitizing exercise, where you always start light. If anything you ask your horse to do, start very, very light. And then, but when you're teaching a horse how to do it, you build your pressure slowly until they start to try to make a change. And then you release your pressure when they make the change. Once they figure out what you're asking, then sometimes horses will just be lazy and they'll start to ignore what you're asking. So you start very light and then come in much more heavy. They learn that, hey, if they move off that light pressure, they won't feel that heavy pressure.
Yeah.
Good. So that was just a little wiggle of the lead rope. She's ignoring it a little bit there. So she's starting to lighten up some. And you notice when I ask her to come forward, she's heavy that way too, right? So we got to get both of those good. We got to get backing, get her light backing, which that's quite a bit better. Also light moving forward. If I start to pull on a horse forward and she leans on that and starts to play tug of war with me, I'll wait a few seconds, and if she won't come forward, I'm not going to wait her out straight on. The hardest place to pull a horse is straight on from the horse. So I'll just keep that tension and I'll pull to the side and pull her off balance. And then when she starts to move, release that pressure.
That's what I do too. I call it sticky
Sticky feet, yeah.
Yeah, they get sticky.
Yeah.
Gotta unstick them sideways.
So to help a horse get really good at trailer loading, we have to unstick those feet. She's got to be very, very flowy, very light with our cues. So if we can get her to not be reactive to us and to be light with our cues when we ask them to do something, then trailer loading a lot of times becomes a cinch. But if she doesn't know how to lightly move off of my cues, then we're going to have a heck of a time having success trailer loading, because I'm trying to teach her to be light and trailer load at the same time. So I'm going to teach her to be light first, and then I'm going to also do a leading exercise with her in a second, because she is kind of heavy coming forward.
Are you gonna put it around her butt?
Nope. Now you asked if I'm going to put it around her butt. Do you mean when I'm getting her in the trailer?
Just in your leading exercise.
Probably not. I'll show you what I do. But because you brought that up, I might do a little bit of some lateral flexion with her, see if I get her flexing.
Yeah, she's got that.
So there, she's pulling. I don't want to release my pressure, even if she pulled me all the way back to the gates over there. I just keep going with her until I get a change in the other direction. And here's another thing to remember when you're asking a horse to do something is focus on that first movement of the direction you want. So if I want her to come forward and she's not coming forward and she's just backing up, don't worry about it. Just keep asking her to come forward until she changes and comes forward, and then release your pressure and then ask again. What people will do is, like, let's say she started backing up when I was trying to get her to come forward and she took me all the way to the fence. Well, I started here, so I think, oh, I've got to bring her all the way back to here before I release my pressure because this is where I started. Well, you're bound to lose momentum, and she'll start to feel like she's doing the wrong thing if you keep that pressure on all the way back to where she was. So don't worry about where she is, worry about the direction she's going. As soon as she starts to go the right direction, release your pressure and then ask again.
So would you ever have someone get behind her to help with this exercise here?
The question is if I would ever have somebody get behind her to help with the exercise. I don't with this specific exercise to ask her to come forward. I haven't. I've seen trainers do that for certain exercises, including coming forward, but I don't.
Why not?
I don't do it because I've never had a need for it. Because I can get them to figure out how to come forward without somebody driving from behind. It's like I see a lot of people try to trailer load a horse, and they've got one person trying to pull them in and three people back behind them whipping them and taking a rope behind their butt and trying to push them in, or whatever the scenario is. I've seen countless scenarios where people are doing it something like that, but I don't need anybody extra to do this. Now, when I was a kid growing up on the ranch, yeah, I'd do that kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, we got to get this mule loaded in this trailer because we got to go to the mountains, or this colt that we're starting, we're going to go to the mountains and pack him up to our sheep camps, and he doesn't know how to trailer load. Well, it's a big ordeal for a couple hours getting him on the trailer, but he doesn't learn a whole lot.
Yeah. In that scenario, would you say that could make it more of an issue in the future?
It can make it more of an issue in the future if it's a negative experience. Like I heard a story the other day, actually it's from Mark Rashid, one of his books. I think it was one of his books called Consider the Horse, where the guy was trailer loading. Yep, that was where I read that story. The horse didn't want to get in the trailer, so he had a friend take a lead rope through the front of the trailer and hold on to the horse, and then he got a hot shot and shocked the horse in the back end, and the horse jumped right in the trailer, But he said he ruined that horse because now every time he got close to a trailer, he would literally, even if he had a rider on, try to jump in. He was jumping in out of fear, right? So that's not what we don't want. We don't want them jumping in out of fear or having a terrible experience doing it, because it's not getting in the trailer that's the key to trailer loading. It's the process of getting in the trailer that's the key. If we make the process good for them, and they learn how to respond and how to not be afraid, then they'll never have trailer loading problems the rest of their life, most likely. But yeah, I've seen plenty of horses go years and be terrible at trailer loading because they're forced into it versus learning this, stuff like this. And this may feel like, I did a trailer loading session, it took me about 2 hours one time. It was only maybe 6 months ago with a 2-year-old filly that needed to go to the vet, and we only had 2 hours. And I went an hour and 40 minutes or so doing this kind of stuff. Never even tried to get her in the trailer. And I could see her owners starting to panic because they're like, she's never going to get on the trailer. And then it took me literally like 5 minutes to get her in the trailer. So again, it's the process that they go through that we teach them, because we're teaching them how to be responsive. Yeah. And that's like, probably takes care of 80% of trailer loading problems.
Soft and supple horse will never have an issue trailer loading.
What's that?
Soft and supple horse will never have an issue trailer loading.
Soft and supple horse will decrease your issues of trailer loading by 80% probably. So it's not that you won't ever have an issue, because you might have a soft, supple horse that is deathly afraid of getting in there. Okay. So actually, I'll just not use this flag. I'm going to use my lead rope. So I'm going to teach her to be a little bit lighter to lead. And this is how I'm going to do it without a stick or a flag. I'm going to take this lead rope and I'm going to double it like this, but it's almost like I do it in thirds. The double side is a third, and then there's one side that the tail is about a third. So that's 2/3. I'll grab like this, and I make it about the length of my forearm from my elbow to my hand. And then what I'm going to do...
Between where your hand is and her.
Yeah, between where my hand is holding the lead rope and the snap. So that's about the length of my forearm. That way I keep her about where I want her when I'm asking her to lead. So I'm going to ask her to come forward, and I'm going to speed up. And if she doesn't speed up, I'm going to swing my lead rope back here until I get a little bit more energy. I'm going to ask her to come forward, get a little more energy, ask her to come forward, a little more energy, again. It is a little easier to do this with a stick or a flag, but I thought I'd just try it with my lead rope. Good. That time she trotted. And that's really what I'm trying to get her to do, is pick up a trot here. Good. Good. There's a little trot. Now release my pressure, let that feel good to her. Ask her again. Good. Ask her again. Good. Point. So I'm going to point, give her a second to think about it, and swing my tail. Now the only way this really works is the tail of your lead rope has to be firm. You have to be able to give her some pressure that means something. So if you need a weighted lead rope to do it this way. Otherwise, you want to use a flag or a stick as your extra pressure. So here's my cue to speed up. There's my extra pressure. Here's my cue to speed up. Here's my extra pressure. Good girl. So if you have a horse that leans on you when you're leading them, you can teach them pretty quickly to stop leaning on you. So if I go faster, she should go faster. And there she went back into her old habits, right? She felt the pressure and decided, I'm out of here. Now, if she had gotten away from me right there, I would just go catch her where she gets to, move her feet around quite a bit there, and just start again. It's not the end of the world, but I'm glad I held on.
Yeah.
Once I get her responding on the left side, I'll go to the right side. That time I was a little more ready. Now sometimes if a horse starts feeling like they want to get away from me, I'll switch sides. You're fine.
Dude, come here. Come here. Sorry, my dog. Come here. I'm glad she doesn't react. That other horse is not safe.
Yeah, you can feel her energy come up when that horse starts running around out there, but she's staying under control.
Luckily, she's always kind of been that way whenever you start doing that. Because they'll do that sometimes when I'm riding her in the arena. Because I walk them in the back when I ride.
Uh-huh.
I should probably walk them in the back right now.
I think we're fine. Okay, I'm going to switch sides to the other side. So just like everything else, I'm going to get her good at this. Then she'll probably be close to getting ready, getting the trailer. Good girl. There, she made the corner that time without slowing down to a walk. So at first, I'm not as concerned with her staying with me in a straight line. If she gets a little ahead of me, I'm just going to turn into a circle like that. So I'll just turn in a circle, but keep her going. Switch sides. This is an exercise I teach in my membership and in a couple of courses called the Come With Me exercise. So it's just a leading exercise. I want her to stick with me, going forward, stopping, going backwards. Once I get her going forward consistently, then we'll work on stopping and backing a little. That was quite a bit easier for her to speed up. She's very smart. Every Gypsy Vanner I've ever worked with, I've found them to be very intelligent, but sometimes that can be problematic for some owners because they'll try to take advantage of them. Yeah, I mean, the horses will start like, the horses will. The horses will start refusing to do things because they can. Good girl.
Do you feel like they're slow in any way? Like when you're physically?
I don't, but I don't deal with a whole lot of really hot-blooded reining and cutting horses, you know. So I don't know compared to those kind of horses, like what you're experienced with. But I don't find them, I find them to be very intelligent. Uh-huh.
But at the same time, I don't feel like they're as intelligent as what I'm used to working with.
Yeah, and that may be true. I find most horses to be quite intelligent, and the better I get as a horseman, the more intelligent I think horses are.
And I haven't had as much experience as you have, so, you know, you're probably more accurate. Because I've been around a lot of them and I've ridden lots of them, but I haven't trained them.
Yeah. So I'm still trying to get her to lighten up a little bit. There, that was the first time I didn't have to swing my tail to add pressure to her. Getting pretty resistant to going forward on this side. Sometimes you make that forward progress and then they decide, I want to try to go back to my old ways. We're establishing lots of control here. Responsiveness is control, right? That's what you're looking for. Is if you ask them to do something, they do it without resistance and without reaction too. Lots of changes of direction. There, that was the first time that she trotted on this right side. Second time, good. Okay, so she's not perfect at it, but quite a bit lighter. See, most of the time, the more you get into this, you'll realize that owners have an idea of what they want from training with the horse. People still, to this day, try to tell me how to train their horse. And I listen, but in most cases, I take that as information that may or may not help me, and I just work on the foundation until they're really good, whether it be on the ground or in the saddle. And I don't worry about the expectations of the owner. Because if you do, you know, you'll end up trying to please owners and doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing and get yourself hurt. You're the expert, not them. Okay, let me back her out of my space. So there's a little bit of resistance coming forward, but it's not, she's about 80% there. And I'm gonna be okay with that for today. Okay, let's see if we can get her in.